Have you ever met someone who seems to just get things done without any fuss or fanfare? They're the quiet achievers, the unsung heroes who move mountains while the rest of us are still talking about it. Today, we're telling the story of one such person, a woman whose actions didn't just speak louder than words, they echoed through her entire community. Let's call her Elena. The paint was peeling, the park was overgrown, and the spirit of the community felt a little dim. People complained, they held meetings, they pointed fingers, they debated endlessly about who was responsible and what should be done. But while the words flew, nothing really changed. Alina, however, was different. She wasn't one for big speeches or public declarations. In fact, she rarely spoke at the town meetings. Instead, you'd find her at sunrise, a bucket and brush in hand, quietly scrubbing graffiti off the wall of the old library. She didn't ask for permission or for help. She just saw something that needed doing, and she did it. Soon, her silent work began to ripple outwards. She started a small garden in the neglected town square. First, it was just a few flower pots. Then, she cleared a patch of weeds and planted some lavender. A neighbor, inspired by the splash of color, brought over some tomato seedlings. Another offered to help water the plants. Before long, that forgotten patch of dirt became a vibrant community garden, a place where people gathered, shared stories, and reconnected. Elena never said, "Let's clean up the park." One Saturday, she just showed up with a lawnmower and some trash bags. A teenager who usually spent his weekends inside saw her from his window. Something stirred in him. He came out and asked if she needed a hand. By the end of the day, a small group had formed, clearing paths and fixing a broken swing. They weren't there because of a grand plan or a rousing speech. They were there because one person's quiet, consistent action was more persuasive than any words could ever be. Her fight was silent. She fought against apathy, against decay, and against the feeling that one person couldn't make a difference. She didn't argue with cynics. She simply planted a flower where they said nothing would grow. She didn't debate with complainers. She picked up a piece of trash they stepped over. Her actions were her argument, and they were undeniable. This story isn't just about Elena or her town. It's a powerful reminder for all of us. How often do we get caught up in talking about problems instead of taking the first small step to solve them? How often do we wait for someone else to lead the way? Elena's story teaches us that true leadership isn't always about being the loudest voice in the room. Sometimes it's about being the first pair of hands to start the work. Your fight might be different. Maybe you're fighting for a personal goal, for a change in your family, or for a cause you believe in. But remember, Elena, remember that every great change begins with a single, quiet action. The most profound statements aren't always spoken, they're lived. Your actions have a voice of their own, one that can inspire, motivate, and create waves of change you can't even imagine. You might be surprised by who you inspire to join you.